Hello everyone, this is Captain Schultz. Welcome back to SnowRunner. Should be episode 5. We're going to be delivering this absolutely massive trailer all the way to a semi-rural construction site, which should be something. Alright, sorry about that. Let's get on the move. Not a whole lot to really wait for. I did a little bit of preparation for this. I found out where all the stuff was and got trucks basically to the locations picked up and ready to roll, which should hopefully mean I can get this all done today and there won't be a whole bunch of unnecessary setup. Because I'm sure not everybody wants to see. Basically, this will probably just be a whole episode of just driving around, setting up for this mission. Which isn't the worst thing, but it's not what I'd want to watch. I want to see stuff get done, which we will hopefully do in this episode. I'm a bit worried for our trip, since the roads around here are especially bad. Mainly the rocks. Rocks in the road are the big problem. Because this truck and rocks get together not at all. So much so that, like, the rocks on the side over there could probably just get this thing stuck if you get in the wrong spot. Which is not good, but you know, we'll persevere. There's usually stuff to winch on too, sometimes. Not a whole lot of options when it comes to this truck, since it just pulls over everything when you're doing it, or winching stuff. But it gets through mud, and I sure hope it gets through mud with this absolutely massive trailer. It's already stuck. I don't know if it's that little pebble in front of me causing that, or if it's the fact that it's going through mud. Could have been either or. I'd bet on the pebble causing that, though. Because this thing rocks. No joke. Awful. So what? Is it the wheels are getting stuck or something? Switch it to low. It's moving. There we go. I don't know if it's the trailer getting high centered. It could be the mud. This thing with mud may be awful. Truck's good with mud, maybe not the trailer, since it is humongous. Just gotta be a little careful with it. I'm expecting this to be the toughest journey out of the 3 we're going to have to do, since the trailer's just super heavy. The other 2 trucks I don't have that many fears about. The older truck might have some problems, but we'll see. Luckily that bounced like that. Or that would have been pretty bad. Not a whole lot's changed in my life, really. It's all kind of normal stuff. Things have been on the up though, which are good, always. This is gonna be maybe a bad turn right here. Alright, come on. Truck, I believe in you. Just pull her over those rocks. Use the raw power. I'm also recording this a tad bit later than usual, so if I'm either more tired or not paying as much attention, that's my alibi. It's basically just past my bedtime. Oh boy. That don't look too good, Chief. Maybe we can just slide on over it though? Come on. Oh yeah, there we go. I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule recently, but it's been pretty daunting task, because as a person who really enjoys naps, sometimes I just take naps. Just all my energy will just drain, and I'll be forced to sleep. I could probably stay awake and not go take naps. I could probably go sit down somewhere, but my bed, it's just too comfy. I gotta go lay down. That's how it works. Other than that, haven't recorded anything else, which is not a bad thing. Still haven't decided on anything else I want to record, really. Don't know if the other, whatever I mentioned before, would be good options. I was watching King of Bears' most recent Binding of Isaac video, and I guess if I were to do stuff like Paradox games or something like that, I could do a wheel, at least in like selecting things, or maybe even like objectives to do. Which I think would be a pretty nifty idea. Totally not stealing the idea either, just a good idea is a good idea. I might make that work and stuff. I mean, really, I could just use that to select a new game, which would also work, I guess. Plus, I wouldn't stop this. Still been enjoying it, so I might as well keep going. Plus, the more I actually talk in these, the less I have to edit them, which would be pretty nice. Usually all I do, at least at the last video, all I did is I cut out the loading times between areas. I didn't have to do like a long cut, well not a long cut, but where I just speed up the footage because nothing's going on. That one I did pretty well at just talking, which might be my old what was that class in high school? Skills. Public speech, that one. Might be those skills coming back. Because I haven't done anything like that in quite some time. And this is essentially that. You're not actually in front of anybody, which is handy. Alrighty. But I actually did pretty okay in public speaking in high school. Oh yeah, up here you can see the truck I've prepped for the second stage of the journey. Maybe for that trip I'll just speed up the footage, because it's just going to be this drive again, but with a much easier load to do. We'll see though. We will see. And public speaking was actually pretty nice. Like, I am not the person to talk to people I don't know, but once you do it once, it's pretty easy to get the hang of it, really. Which is a pretty nice benefit. Because I'm sure the skills pay off here. At least I hope. And to me, high school is actually a pretty nice experience. I was one of those people where I actually missed school like a week or two after it. Where I enjoyed the scheduling. It's nice just to be able to follow a schedule that didn't really change all that much. But usually as soon as school started, at least like a day in or so, a day or two, I'd instantly regret it. At least, I enjoyed the scheduling of school. I just didn't enjoy all the homework of it. The homework really wasn't all that bad. Mainly it's just math. I'm not super great at math. I can do basic calculations if you just give me a minute. And I'm sure if you give me, you tell me how to do it, I can run some practice problems, I'll learn it. Will I remember it? Probably not. But I can do it in the moment, as long as I'm taught well enough. Which kind of happened to me freshman year. Because I had gone through middle school, you take this test at the end of it, at least we did. And I scored high enough on the math, I suppose final is what it was? I don't know. But I scored high enough on that I was able to go into algebra, which was kind of a mistake since I wasn't good at it. I don't want to blame my teacher in freshman year for my necessary mistakes, because again, I'm not the best at homework. I usually do it. There were some nights where it was just sleep time, and then do it whenever I can, tomorrow. Which never really went well in middle school. Worked better in high school. Much better in high school. Oh boy. Red tire. Is that flat? Front tire looks completely busted. Hopefully, we can make it. I might have to deploy Scout to come heal this thing at the turn. This thing is taking a beating. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, algebra. I was super great at that. I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, my teacher didn't teach it right. I think it's because I had a different method of learning. I forget if it's I was hands-on or hands-off. If I saw it, I learned it. I don't know. I think I'm hands-on. I don't know. I can do both, but for some reason, Algebra 1 was just bad. The whole, year, basically. I was just kind of rocking, C's, high D's the entire time. And it was okay. I mean, it's not failing, so it's okay in my book. Certain people, that's not okay. If they get, below an A+, then it's the end of the world. Luckily, through high school, I became much less concerned, which actually I think made it easier to do a lot of things. Because basically, as long as I wasn't failing, I wasn't failing. Sure did try on certain things. Some things I didn't try on. Things where it mattered, like the final, or for senior, or the senior project is what it was. That I tried the best I could, and I did really good on it. But I mean, I've also been just really good at English for quite some time. I think I got really good at middle school. Elementary I was a bit eh. I still am kind of eh on it, because I'm not super great at, like, all the English terms and such. I wonder if this is repair tools. Can I repair here? No? Okay. Doesn't matter. We'll get the Scout. But English has, since middle school, been pretty nice. I mean, I don't remember a whole lot of elementary school. I do know that in 6th grade we had to do you dress up as a famous person in history, and then go to a lower grade and try and get them to guess who you are. Me being the 6'4" monster that I am, I obviously had to go with Abraham Lincoln, because obviously tall people are just the best. The taller, the better. And it went real well. He also had to make like a little costume for it as well. It was pretty easy, because I just made like a little beard thing and a hat. Super easy to do. And this is quite a pickle I've got going on here. I don't necessarily know how I'm going to get this cargo around here. Hopefully this wider turn may help. Mayhaps. Please. Come on. Come on. Yeah, that's all it took. Easy. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln, easy. Because you just say, what, the Emancipation Proclamation? That. People know that. Especially in elementary. My good friend, though, he decided to do, I think he did Patton, which is an interesting pick, because you don't really learn about Patton in elementary school. But he was a big military guy back then, so he had to do it because World War II, obviously. But when he did his, he presented, like, I knew what he was talking about, obviously, but the grade that he was talking to had no clue, except for one kid, like, near the front of the classroom, who instantly shot his hand up when he heard, I'm pretty sure, just like World War II, and like commander of some, he was commander of like Allied forces, but I don't think he heard Allied, or he had no idea what that concept was. So he raised his hand pretty much immediately, and said that he asked him, or he took his guess, I guess if he was Hitler. And that was absolutely ridiculous. The whole class, most of the class got a pretty good chuckle out of it, especially him. I don't think anyone else really had that big of a problem, because most people picked, like, people you'd learn about at that time. You know, big figures. People like George Washington, founding fathers, stuff like that. Which was a smart pick. Didn't pick that, then I don't even know what's wrong with you. Actually, I do know what's wrong with you. That's not that that's really a problem, just lower grades don't know that much. Speaking as an upperclassman myself. At the time, not now, obviously. In elementary, what else happened? Not really a whole lot, necessarily. At least not that I remember. Some stuff sticks out, some stuff just doesn't. For some reason, this one kid, his parents had very strong Netherlands like genes, so they were incredibly tall. But I don't know how that really relates to what I'm about to say, but just bear with me. For some reason, they'd only like give him in his lunch like seaweed. It was seaweed, but flavored certain ways. I don't remember the flavors at all, but like a big package of it that came with probably 10 or more like sheets of seaweed, dried seaweed. And somehow he worked out a deal that this other kid would give him his lunch in trade for the seaweed, which was a ridiculous deal. At least to me. It still seems ridiculous, but he managed to pull it off with that. I'm thinking I probably mentioned the Netherlands part because to just help and reinforce that his parents were probably weird. Not saying that the people from the Netherlands are weird, but they're weird. They do a whole lot of weird things over there. Alright, so this is first turn. I'm going to go grab Scout. And we're going to go fix that truck. That way we don't have to drive with, 5 tires? Well, it has more than 5, but the game counts it as 5 for some reason. Elementary was a real wacky time. Or at least it seemed wacky. I guess it's not really, but yeah, I don't know. It's just strange to like remember about stuff like that, because it feels like it happened forever ago, but it, I mean, relatively didn't. Like considering on like how long you think you're gonna live, which is kind of a weird thought, but I mean that's how I'm judging it on. But who knows how long I'll live for? I hope a long time, but you never know. The world is the world. Alright. So that is fixed up as best it can. Ditch you over here in the ditch. Change back over. Keep on trucking. Hopefully this trailer doesn't get stuck there. That'd be bad. Oh, keep on motoring, lads. I was also pretty lucky in that I wasn't really part of any groups, really. Like, I wasn't a popular kid, nor was I an unpopular kid. I was able to kind of slot myself into any group necessary, really. Didn't have any enemies. Didn't want any enemies. Just didn't have them. Plus, there weren't a whole lot of people there, so if you didn't like someone, you're going to see them every day, which is not ideal. Especially, yeah, if you have to see them every day. The biggest change, I guess, in like friends happened in middle school, because I think that's where 2 elementary schools combine. Mine and the other elementary school that was nearby combined there. And man, oh man, do I remember like the first days of middle school. Those were magical. Especially the field trip we took to go actually see the middle school. That was pretty wacky. Pretty neat, especially since I remember one of the big things that I remember about it was the pizza slices were no longer rectangular. That was like the biggest news there was. In our elementary, they were all just big pieces of rectangle. Or big rectangles. And up at the middle school, they're actually, you know, pizza shaped, which was remarkable. I'll just pull down everything, try and winch up here. The pizza looked good, plus the burgers looked good too, at least relative to elementary hamburgers. Which, I mean, looking back at it now, really didn't affect me since I always had lunch from home, or at least mostly. If we had stuff to make lunches at home, we had lunches from home. Which is pretty much every day, which was nice in its own way. Or I guess I was only that way since middle school. And elementary, I picked normal lunches. Which isn't too bad. It's weird that, you know, like how much responsibility they gave you, because in our elementary we got cards that had like our number on them. They're lunch cards. And during lunch they were like your responsibility. So you didn't want to lose that because, you know, that's how you get lunch. Being a big man myself, lunch was survival. If I didn't get that, I was basically just dead at that point. Which nobody wants. At least I don't think. Because I didn't have really any enemies. I mean, I didn't like people, for sure, but that wasn't enough reason for me to hate someone enough to be, like, actual enemies. I just wouldn't talk to you. Or if I did, it's because I had to out of necessity. I mean, I wouldn't call this kid an enemy, but I was pretty rude to this one kid. It wasn't like bullying or anything, but for some reason he did something that I thought was awful. I don't know if it's how he's acting, or if he said something weird or dumb, or who knows what he said. But in elementary school, I want to say it was 6th grade. I could be wrong. Maybe it was lower. But he did something, and then old brainiac me decided, because we were doing this thing where you like stand up and talk and say something. While he stood up, I pulled out the chair from, like, I slid it back while he was stood up, and it was not great. I mean, he didn't break anything or hurt anything really. He just fell down, sat on the floor from a standing position. But for me, that was really out of the blue. Like, even the teacher who was in there was like, yo, what's up? Something's not right. This isn't like you at all. Which was surprising because I didn't really have the teacher. She was super nice, but I never was taught by her. But even she knew that that wasn't me. And yeah, now looking back at that, I've never really did anything like that. because it's just not something I do. I'm not a mean spirit. But you know, it is what it is. It's never super rude to that. I mean, if I knew you, I'd kind of pick on you a little bit. I wouldn't say to like any bullying levels. Mostly just flat tires. I was pretty good at those. Elementary taught me to be a bad person, alright? It wasn't my fault. Whenever we'd leave class, we'd all walk out in really big lines. And it was just the perfect opportunity to give someone a flat tire. Which also made me the leader of the line most of the time, because people knew. They were in front of me, they were getting flat tired. I didn't do it all the time. Especially the people I genuinely cared about. As much as I could genuinely care about people in elementary school. Most of the people I still hung out with in high school. Not to say that flat tiring people in elementary made me lose a bunch of relationships with people. I just chose to talk to less and less people, it seemed like, the longer I was in school. Which was pretty nice. I basically didn't have to deal with any drama. Probably the worst of the drama I had to deal with was when my best friend at the time had gotten his first girlfriend. And they were doing pretty okay for quite a while. But as high school relationships go, it didn't last. And he hit some serious lows. But I was there for him whenever I could. At least I hoped I was, as much as I could. Me and him still talk to this day. He comes over and visits. Just at random. Sometimes I get a message, usually I don't. It just, he shows up. Which isn't that bad. I'm sure if he needed to, we could find space to let him live here. If he wanted. Don't think he will, though. Yeah, his relationship ended, and then it got pretty bad there. Like, I remember he had this paper where during class, no matter what was going on, or they had to take notes or do whatever, he had that out, and he would just make tally marks on it. And there were some truly ridiculous tally marks on there, like number of them. But he eventually got over it. He did, at the time, pick up the nasty habit of drinking alcohol. Which, I mean, as long as you're, proper age and you do it in moderation, I don't care. But he was not anywhere close to either of those. Like, I mean, I understood he was sad and all, but even on that, I was still rough with him, telling him he shouldn't be doing that. And he's definitely calmed down since then, with the drinking especially, because it was, oh man, bad. We got the base bill. I mean, he still drinks to this day, but yeah. Like, for how young he was, his liver was definitely not going to last. And I told him that, too. I was just honest.